In this session, we begin gently by easing into the quiet world of human movement, a world that is always present yet rarely noticed. The human skeleton, so often imagined as a rigid frame, is in truth a structure defined by motion. Even in stillness, it participates in a subtle conversation with gravity, balance, and the surrounding space. As you settle into listening, there is no need to visualize anything with precision or effort. The aim is simply to allow understanding to unfold slowly, in much the same way the body itself moves without haste, without strain. Biomechanics is the study of how living structures move, and when applied to the human skeleton, it becomes an exploration of design shaped by time, adaptation, and efficiency. Every bone in the body exists not merely to hold shape, but to allow motion to occur smoothly and predictably. The skeleton is not a static scaffold on which life is hung. It is a dynamic system, one that responds continuously to forces both large and small. With each breath, each shift of weight, each moment of rest, the skeleton adjusts itself in quiet cooperation with muscles, connective tissues, and gravity. Movement, in this context, does not refer only to walking, lifting, or reaching. It includes the gentle sway that keeps you upright, the minute adjustments of the spine as you sit or lie down, and the soft expansion of the ribcage as air moves in and out. These movements happen without instruction. They are guided by structures refined over millions of years, shaped not for speed or spectacle, but for balance and endurance. The skeleton allows movement to be economical, spreading forces across surfaces, redirecting pressure, and minimizing unnecessary effort. As we begin, it may be helpful to release the idea that motion requires exertion. Bones roll, glide, and pivot at joints in response to forces already present, such as body weight or momentum. When you turn your head, the bones of the neck do not strain to move. They follow pathways defined by joint surfaces, guided by their shapes and alignments. The motion feels natural because it is natural, the result of structure doing what it was designed to do. The human skeleton is composed of many parts, but it functions as a whole. No single bone moves in isolation. When one segment shifts, others respond, creating a chain of motion that travels quietly through the body. This interconnectedness is one of the central themes of biomechanics. Movement is distributed, shared, and coordinated. A simple action, such as standing up, involves the feet sensing the ground, the knees adjusting their angle, the hips aligning over the legs, and the spine stacking itself upward, all while the skull balances calmly at the top. In everyday life, this orchestration goes unnoticed. The nervous system does not ask for permission before making adjustments, and the skeleton does not announce its work. Yet beneath the surface of awareness, a remarkable level of precision is maintained. Forces are measured, angles are adjusted, and pressure is redistributed, all in service of keeping movement smooth and stable. The skeleton provides the pathways along which these forces travel, ensuring that motion does not collapse into strain. It is also worth noting that the skeleton is not unchanging. Bone is living tissue. It responds to the demands placed upon it, becoming denser where loads are frequent and lighter where forces are minimal. This adaptability allows the skeleton to remain efficient across a wide range of activities and stages of life. Movement shapes bone, and bone, in turn, shapes movement. This reciprocal relationship is slow and gradual, unfolding over weeks, months, and years, rather than moments. In this session, there is no need to memorize names or structures. Those details will come later, gently and without pressure. For now, the intention is simply to appreciate the skeleton as a system in motion, a quiet partner in every action you take. Even as you rest, the skeleton continues its work. Gravity presses downward, and bones respond by aligning themselves to bear weight with minimal stress. Joints decompress and settle, allowing surfaces to rest against one another in ways that encourage circulation and comfort. You might notice, as you listen, that awareness of your own body becomes softer rather than sharper. This is intentional. Understanding does not require vigilance. It can arrive in a relaxed state, absorbed rather than analyzed. The concepts introduced here are meant to drift into awareness, much like the slow movements they describe. There is no expectation to follow every word closely. The rhythm of the narration itself mirrors the rhythm of skeletal motion, steady, unhurried, and continuous. Throughout this series, we will explore different regions of the skeleton, not as separate parts, but as contributors to a shared pattern of movement. We will look at how joints guide motion, how curves in the spine absorb force, and how the architecture of the feet supports the entire body. Each topic will be approached calmly, allowing time for ideas to settle. For now, it is enough to recognize that your skeleton is always in motion, even when you believe yourself to be still. This motion is not chaotic. It is measured, adaptive, and deeply familiar to the body that carries it. As you continue listening, there is nothing you need to do. The skeleton already knows how to move, and your mind can rest in that knowledge. In the quiet space between words, consider the simple fact that movement does not begin with effort, but with structure. The human skeleton provides that structure, offering pathways for motion that are reliable and forgiving. It is a system built not for perfection, but for continuity, allowing you to move through the world with ease, moment after moment, breath after breath. And as this session continues, we will remain within that calm understanding, letting each idea flow gently into the next, just as the bones themselves do. 2. The skeleton as an adaptive, living system. As we continue, the skeleton can be understood not as a fixed framework, but as a living system that responds continuously to its environment. Bone is often imagined as inert, something solid and permanent, yet in reality, it is one of the most dynamic tissues in the body. It grows, repairs itself, and reshapes in response to the quiet demands placed upon it each day. This adaptability allows the skeleton to support movement across changing circumstances, from childhood growth to adult activity and into older age, without requiring conscious intervention. At the microscopic level, bone is in constant motion. Old bone tissue is broken down and replaced with new material, a cycle that ensures strength while allowing flexibility and structure. This process unfolds over long periods of time, measured in months rather than minutes, which is why skeletal change feels invisible from one day to the next. Yet over years, the effects are profound. The skeleton remembers how it has been used, quietly adjusting to patterns of movement and rest. This adaptability is guided by mechanical forces. When a bone experiences regular loading, such as during walking or standing, it responds by reinforcing the areas that bear the most stress. The internal architecture of the bone becomes denser along lines of force, forming a structure that is strong without being unnecessarily heavy. Conversely, when movement is reduced and forces are minimal, bone tissue gradually becomes lighter. This balance allows the skeleton to remain efficient, supporting the body without expending more material or energy than needed. In this way, movement and structure exist in a continuous dialogue. The skeleton does not simply allow movement, it is shaped by it. Everyday actions, repeated over time, leave subtle impressions on bone. The way you walk, how you sit, and even how you rest all contribute to this shaping. These influences are not judged by the body as good or bad. They are simply incorporated, gradually and patiently, into the architecture of the skeleton. Importantly, this process does not require intensity. Gentle, consistent forces are often more influential than brief bursts of effort. Walking, standing, and shifting weight throughout the day provide sufficient stimulation to maintain bone health. The skeleton responds to regularity rather than extremes. This reflects a broader principle of human biomechanics, in which sustainability is favored over excess. Structures endure not by resisting force rigidly, but by accommodating it intelligently. The living nature of bone also means that it participates in healing. When a bone is injured, the body initiates a carefully organized repair process. New tissue forms at the site of injury, gradually restoring strength and continuity. This repair does not produce identical bone, but rather bone that is adapted to the stresses it will face during recovery. Even here, the skeleton learns, reinforcing areas that will need support as movement resumes. Beyond bone tissue itself, the skeleton is deeply integrated with surrounding systems. Blood vessels travel through bone, supplying nutrients and removing waste. Bone marrow, housed within many bones, plays a vital role in the production of blood cells. This means the skeleton is not merely structural, but also contributes to circulation and immunity. These functions continue quietly, regardless of whether the body is active or at rest, further reinforcing the idea that the skeleton is alive in every sense. Adaptation also occurs at the level of joints, where bones meet and movement is guided. Joint surfaces are shaped to distribute forces evenly, reducing wear and allowing motion to remain smooth over time. These surfaces are supported by cartilage, which itself responds to gentle compression by maintaining its resilience. Movement nourishes joint tissues by encouraging the flow of fluids that deliver nutrients. Stillness, too, has its place, allowing structures to recover and rebalance. The skeleton thrives on a rhythm that includes both motion and rest. Throughout life, this adaptive capacity allows the skeleton to meet changing demands. During growth, bones lengthen and reshape rapidly, guided by genetic patterns and mechanical input. In adulthood, the pace of change slows, but adaptation continues steadily. Later in life, the balance between renewal and breakdown shifts, yet the skeleton remains responsive. Even small, regular movements can influence how bone tissue is maintained, demonstrating that adaptability does not disappear with age. What is remarkable is that this entire system operates largely beyond awareness. You do not feel bones adjusting their internal structure, nor do you sense the slow renewal of tissue. These processes are regulated automatically, responding to signals that reflect mechanical load and metabolic needs. The result is a skeleton that supports you reliably without demanding attention, allowing consciousness to focus elsewhere. In the context of restful learning, this understanding invites a sense of trust in the body. The skeleton is not fragile by default, nor is it rigidly fixed. It is resilient, responsive, and capable of maintaining itself when given reasonable conditions. Movement does not need to be forced or optimized constantly. The body has evolved systems that handle adaptation quietly and efficiently, provided they are allowed to function without excessive interference. As you listen, you may find that this perspective encourages a softer awareness of your own structure. There is no requirement to correct posture or evaluate alignment. The skeleton is already engaged in subtle adjustments, responding to gravity and support surfaces in real time. Even now, small shifts are occurring as weight is redistributed and joints settle. These movements are not signs of restlessness, but expressions of a living system maintaining balance. This adaptive quality also explains why the skeleton can accommodate such a wide variety of human activities. From walking slowly to lifting objects, from sitting for extended periods to lying down in sleep, the same fundamental structures are involved. Their ability to adjust internally allows them to meet these demands without constant injury. When discomfort arises, it often reflects a temporary imbalance rather than permanent failure, signaling the need for variation rather than force. As this session continues, we will return often to the idea that the skeleton is not something separate from movement, but something shaped by it. Each bone carries a history written in response to lived experience. That history is not static. It evolves. This ongoing adaptability is one of the reasons the human body can sustain movement across decades. For now, it is enough to rest with the understanding that beneath the surface of stillness, your skeleton is alive, responsive. It is already engaged in the gentle work of support and adaptation, maintaining a structure that allows movement to emerge naturally. And as we move forward, we will continue to explore how this living system expresses itself through the simple, elegant mechanics of human motion. 3 bones as levers, not beams. As the exploration continues, it becomes useful to shift how we imagine bones themselves. It is common to think of bones as beams or pillars, passive structures whose only task is to hold the body upright. In biomechanics, however, bones are better understood as levers. This distinction is subtle but important, because it reframes movement as something guided by shape and placement rather than raw strength. Levers allow small forces to create controlled motion, conserving energy and reducing strain. The human skeleton is filled with these quiet mechanical advantages, built into its very form. A lever, in its simplest sense, is a rigid structure that pivots around a fixed point, allowing force applied at one location to produce movement elsewhere. In the body, bones serve this role constantly. When a muscle contracts, it does not pull against empty space. The joint acts as the pivot, the bone as the lever, and the muscle as the source of force. This arrangement allows movement to be precise and economical, even when the force generated by muscles is relatively modest. What makes this system remarkable is that it operates continuously without conscious awareness. When you bend an elbow, the bones of the forearm rotate smoothly around the joint, guided by their curved surfaces and held in alignment by connective tissues. The motion feels simple, but beneath that simplicity lies a finely tuned mechanical relationship. The length of the bones, the position of the joint, and the attachment points of muscles all determine how much movement occurs and how much effort is required. Unlike beams, which are designed primarily to resist bending, levers are designed to move. Bones are shaped to accommodate this role. Their contours, ridges, and angles are not arbitrary. Each feature reflects a history of forces acting upon it over evolutionary time. The skeleton has been refined to prioritize motion that is repeatable and sustainable. Rather than maximizing power at all costs, it favors control, stability, and endurance. In many parts of the body, the lever systems are arranged so that muscles pull close to the joint. From a purely mechanical standpoint, this might seem inefficient, as it requires greater muscle force to produce movement. Yet this arrangement allows for greater control and finer adjustments. A small contraction can produce a small, precise movement. This precision is essential for tasks such as walking, grasping, or maintaining balance. The skeleton supports this control by positioning bones in ways that favor smooth, predictable motion. The idea of bones as levers also helps explain why movement often feels easier when alignment is comfortable. When joints are positioned so that bones move along their natural paths, less muscular effort is required. The lever system operates smoothly, allowing gravity and momentum to assist rather than hinder motion. When alignment is strained, muscles must work harder to compensate, and movement becomes less efficient. The skeleton itself has not changed, but the way its levers are being used has shifted. This perspective encourages a gentler view of movement. When you rise from a seated position, for example, the bones of the legs rotate around the hip and knee joints in a coordinated sequence. The lever arms created by the thigh and lower leg allow body weight to be lifted with surprising ease, provided the movement follows a natural pattern. The sensation of effort remains moderate because the structure itself is doing much of the work. Throughout the body, these lever systems are layered and interconnected. A movement at one joint influences others, creating a chain reaction that distributes forces across multiple bones. This distribution reduces stress on any single structure, protecting joints and tissues over time. The skeleton excels at sharing load, allowing movement to be sustained over long periods without fatigue. Walking, for instance, relies on a rhythmic transfer of force from foot to leg to pelvis to spine, each segment contributing in turn. It is also worth noting that levers in the body are not rigid in the way mechanical levers are often imagined. Bones are rigid enough to transmit force, but their connections allow for slight adjustments. Joints permit rolling and gliding, not just simple hinging. These subtle movements help accommodate variations in terrain, posture, and activity. The lever system is therefore flexible, capable of adapting moment by moment to changing conditions. As you listen, you may become aware that movement does not require pushing or forcing. Instead, it emerges when the skeleton's levers are allowed to operate freely. Even small shifts in position can alter how forces move through the body. A slight change in foot placement can influence the entire chain of bones above it. The skeleton responds immediately, adjusting its levers to maintain balance and continuity. Understanding bones as levers also highlights the importance of rest. Just as movement relies on structure, rest allows those structures to recover and reset. When the body lies down, the orientation of levers changes. Gravity acts differently, and joints decompress. Bones settle into positions that reduce load, allowing tissues to rehydrate and recover. This quiet resetting prepares the lever system for the next period of movement. In this restful state, the skeleton continues to function as a mechanical system, even though motion is minimal. Small adjustments still occur, guided by the same principles of leverage and balance. These micro-movements help maintain comfort and circulation, preventing stiffness and strain. The skeleton remains engaged, but without urgency or effort. Over time, the consistent use of these lever systems shapes the skeleton itself. Bone tissue becomes denser along lines of repeated force, reinforcing the structures that transmit movement most often. This adaptation further enhances the efficiency of the lever system, creating a feedback loop between use and structure. The skeleton becomes better suited to the movements it performs most frequently, all without conscious direction. As this session unfolds, it may be comforting to recognize that your body is already well equipped for movement. The skeleton's lever systems are not something you need to manage actively. They have evolved to work reliably under a wide range of conditions. When movement feels fluid, it is often because these systems are operating as intended, allowing forces to flow rather than collide. For now, there is nothing to analyze or adjust. Simply rest with the idea that beneath your awareness, bones are arranged not to resist movement, but to invite it. They form levers that turn effort into motion with quiet efficiency. This understanding sets the foundation for everything that follows, as we continue to explore how joints, curves, and connections guide the human skeleton in motion, moment by moment, with remarkable ease. 4 joints. Where motion is gently guided, as attention turns from bones themselves to the spaces where they meet, the idea of movement becomes even more refined. Joints are not merely gaps between bones, nor are they simple hinges or pivots in the mechanical sense. They are carefully shaped environments where motion is guided, limited, and supported in equal measure. Without joints, bones would be incapable of meaningful movement. With them, motion becomes predictable, smooth, and safe, unfolding within boundaries that protect the body over time. A joint exists wherever 2 or more bones come together, yet no 2 joints are exactly alike. Each is shaped according to the kind of movement it is meant to allow. Some joints permit broad, sweeping motion, while others allow only small adjustments. What they share is an underlying purpose: to channel movement along paths that are efficient and sustainable. Rather than granting unlimited freedom, joints offer controlled options, encouraging movement that aligns with the structure of the skeleton as a whole. This guidance begins with the shape of the bones themselves. The surfaces where bones meet are rarely flat. Instead, they are curved, ridged, or contoured in ways that encourage certain movements while discouraging others. When one bone moves against another, these surfaces roll and glide together, directing motion along well-defined trajectories. This interaction happens quietly, without friction or hesitation, supported by smooth cartilage that cushions contact and distributes pressure. Cartilage plays a central role in joint function. It covers the ends of bones, creating a resilient, low-friction surface that allows movement to occur with minimal resistance. Unlike bone, cartilage does not contain blood vessels. It relies on movement itself to stay nourished. When joints move gently, fluid is pressed in and out of the cartilage, delivering nutrients and removing waste. In this way, motion sustains the very tissues that make it possible, forming a subtle cycle of care and renewal. Surrounding each joint is a capsule of connective tissue that encloses the space and helps maintain stability. This capsule is neither rigid nor slack. It provides enough firmness to hold bones in alignment, while still allowing movement to unfold naturally. Ligaments, which connect bone to bone, reinforce this structure. They act as quiet guides, limiting excessive motion without restricting normal range. Rather than pulling movement to a stop, they offer gentle resistance, encouraging joints to remain within comfortable boundaries. What is striking about joints is how little effort they require when functioning well. Movement feels smooth not because muscles are working harder, but because joints are guiding bones along efficient paths. When you bend a knee or turn your head, the motion follows a route shaped by joint anatomy. Muscles initiate movement, but joints define its quality. They ensure that motion is not only possible, but also repeatable and safe over a lifetime. Different joints offer different degrees of freedom. Some allow movement in many directions, while others are more specific. This diversity reflects the varied demands placed on different parts of the body. Areas that require stability, such as the spine or pelvis, often feature joints that prioritize controlled motion. Regions that need reach or adaptability, such as the shoulders or hands, are built with joints that allow broader movement. In each case, the joint design reflects a balance between mobility and protection. It is important to recognize that joints are not isolated units. They operate as part of larger chains of movement. A shift in one joint influences others nearby, creating coordinated patterns that travel through the skeleton. When you take a step, the motion begins at the foot, passes through the ankle and knee, continues through the hip, and subtly affects the spine and head. Each joint contributes its portion of movement, sharing the load and maintaining continuity. This interconnectedness means that joints often move in small, nearly imperceptible ways, even when the body appears still. Standing upright requires constant micro-adjustments at the ankles, knees, hips, and spine. These movements are guided by joint surfaces and supported by connective tissues that respond instantly to changes in balance. The result is a posture that feels stable without being rigid, maintained by countless tiny motions rather than a single fixed position. Rest also plays a crucial role in joint health. When the body lies down, the forces acting on joints change. Weight is redistributed, pressure decreases, and joint surfaces have an opportunity to settle. This decompression allows fluids to move back into cartilage, restoring its resilience. Small adjustments continue, guided by the same structures that support movement during waking hours. With time, joints adapt to patterns of use much like bones do. Prolonged immobility, on the other hand, can lead to stiffness, not because joints are meant to stop moving, but because they rely on motion to maintain their internal environment. This does not mean that constant activity is required. Rather, it highlights the importance of balance, allowing joints to experience both movement and rest in a natural rhythm. In the context of biomechanics, joints are often described in terms of their function, yet their experiential quality is equally important. When joints are well aligned and supported, movement feels effortless. There is no sensation of grinding or resistance, only a sense of continuity from one position to another. This ease is not accidental. It is the result of structures working together as intended. As you listen, you may become aware of subtle sensations in your own joints, perhaps a gentle settling or a sense of space. There is no need to interpret these sensations. They are simply signs of a living system responding to gravity, support, and stillness. Joints are always in conversation with their surroundings, adjusting quietly to maintain comfort and function. Understanding joints as guides rather than obstacles can soften the way movement is perceived. Instead of viewing limitations as restrictions, they can be seen as protective boundaries that allow movement to continue safely over time. It aims for reliable motion that can be repeated day after day, year after year, without damage. As this exploration continues, joints will appear again and again, each time in a different context. They will be seen supporting the spine, enabling the limbs, and adapting to the ground beneath the feet. For now, it is enough to rest with the idea that every movement you make is gently guided by these remarkable structures. Joints quietly shape the flow of motion, ensuring that the skeleton moves not with force, but with care, balance, and enduring ease. 5. The spine as a flexible column. As attention settles on the center of the skeleton, the spine emerges not as a rigid pole, but as a quietly responsive column designed for movement, balance, and continuity. It rises gently from the pelvis, curves through the torso, and supports the skull above, forming the central pathway through which forces travel in nearly every action. Despite its appearance as a single structure, the spine is composed of many small segments working together, each contributing a small degree of motion that, when combined, creates remarkable flexibility. The spine is built from a series of vertebrae stacked one upon another. Between these bones lie soft discs that act as cushions and spacers, allowing the vertebrae to move without friction. This segmented design is essential. Rather than bending at one point, the spine distributes motion across many levels. When you lean forward, twist, or simply shift your weight, the movement is shared among numerous vertebrae, reducing strain and preserving stability. This sharing of motion is one of the spine's greatest strengths. Viewed from the side, the spine is gently curved rather than straight. The curves act like springs, compressing slightly under load and returning to shape when the load changes. This design allows the spine to respond smoothly to forces generated by walking, standing, or even breathing, without transmitting sharp impacts upward to the skull. Each region of the spine has its own character, shaped by the demands placed upon it. The lower portion bears much of the body's weight and is built for strength and controlled motion. Higher up, the spine becomes more mobile, allowing the upper body and head to move freely. Yet these regions are not isolated. Movement in one area influences the others, creating a continuous wave of adjustment that travels up and down the column. This continuity allows the spine to function as a single, integrated structure. The discs between vertebrae play a quiet but essential role in this process. They are composed of tough outer fibers surrounding a softer, gel-like center. When the spine is loaded, these discs deform slightly, spreading pressure evenly across the vertebrae. When the load is reduced, they slowly rehydrate and regain their shape. This cycle depends on movement and rest. Gentle motion encourages fluid exchange within the discs, while periods of unloading allow them to recover fully. Ligaments and small muscles surrounding the spine provide guidance and support. These tissues do not force the spine into position. Instead, they respond to changes in alignment, offering resistance where needed and releasing when appropriate. This responsiveness allows the spine to remain upright without feeling stiff. Even when standing still, the spine is never truly motionless. Breathing introduces another layer of movement to the spinal column. As the ribcage expands and contracts, subtle shifts occur along the spine, particularly in the mid-back. These movements are gentle and rhythmic, linking respiration with posture and balance. Over time, this connection reinforces the spine's role as a dynamic structure, one that responds not only to large movements. When sitting or lying down, the spine adapts again. Gravity acts differently, and the curves adjust accordingly. In a supported position, the spine can release some of its load, allowing muscles to relax and discs to decompress. This release is not passive collapse, but a controlled settling into shapes that reduce pressure and encourage recovery. The skeleton recognizes these changes instinctively, adjusting alignment without instruction. The flexibility of the spine does not imply instability. On the contrary, its segmented nature allows it to be both strong and adaptable. Each vertebra moves only slightly relative to its neighbors, but together they create a wide range of motion. This design prevents excessive movement at any single level, protecting sensitive structures such as nerves and the spinal cord. Stability emerges from cooperation rather than rigidity. Over time, habitual movement patterns influence how the spine distributes motion. Repeated postures and activities leave subtle imprints, shaping how easily certain movements occur. This adaptability is neither inherently positive nor negative. It simply reflects the spine's responsiveness to lived experience. Gentle variation in movement allows the spine to remain versatile, while prolonged sameness can lead to localized stiffness. Even then, the potential for adaptation remains, given time and gradual change. As you listen, you may notice sensations along your own spine, perhaps a sense of lengthening, softening, or gentle weight. There is no need to adjust or correct anything. The spine is already responding to the surface beneath you, redistributing pressure and finding balance. Awareness alone is enough to acknowledge its ongoing work. The spine's role extends beyond supporting movement. It also protects the spinal cord, the main communication pathway between the brain and the rest of the body. This protective function is seamlessly integrated with mobility. The vertebrae form a flexible shield, allowing nerves to transmit signals without interruption as the body moves. This combination of protection and flexibility reflects the spine's central importance in human biomechanics. During rest, especially during sleep, the spine benefits from prolonged unloading. Discs gradually rehydrate, and muscles release residual tension. This nightly recovery prepares the spine for the next day's demands, restoring its capacity to absorb force and guide movement. The process is slow and quiet, unfolding over hours rather than moments, yet its effects are essential for long-term comfort and resilience. Understanding the spine as a flexible column encourages a more patient relationship with movement. Rather than forcing posture or seeking perfect alignment, it becomes possible to trust the spine's inherent design. It is meant to move, to adjust, and to respond. Its curves, segments, and supporting tissues work together to maintain balance without rigidity, allowing motion to feel natural rather than imposed. As this session continues, the spine will remain a central theme, connecting the movements of the limbs with the balance of the head and pelvis. For now, it is enough to rest in the knowledge that your spine is not a fragile stack of bones. It bends, settles, and responds with quiet intelligence, supporting you through every shift of position, every breath, and every moment of stillness. 6. The spine in motion. Bending, twisting, settling. As we continue, attention turns from the structure of the spine to the way it moves through space. Spinal motion is rarely dramatic. It unfolds slowly, distributed across many segments, and often without conscious awareness. When the spine bends, twists, or settles into rest, it does so not as a single unit, but as a coordinated sequence of small adjustments that ripple along its length. This gentle choreography allows movement to remain fluid, controlled, and remarkably resilient. Bending forward or backward is one of the most familiar spinal motions, yet it is also one of the most misunderstood. From the outside, it may appear that the spine simply hinges at a single point. Internally, however, each vertebra contributes a small portion of the movement. Discs compress slightly at the front or back, joint surfaces glide, and surrounding tissues accommodate the change. Because this motion is shared, no single structure bears the full burden, allowing the spine to bend repeatedly without damage. Forward bending, in particular, illustrates the spine's capacity for adaptation. As the torso inclines, the natural curves of the spine adjust gradually. The lower segments participate first, followed by the mid-back, and finally, the neck. This sequence allows the head to remain balanced as the body moves, preserving orientation and visual stability. The motion feels smooth because it follows the spine's inherent design, guided by shape rather than force. Backward bending unfolds more subtly. It is often smaller in range, yet equally important. This movement restores balance to the tissues involved in forward bending, maintaining elasticity and circulation. Even slight extensions of the spine during daily activities help distribute stress and encourage joint health. The spine does not require large or exaggerated movements to remain functional. Gentle variations are sufficient, especially when they occur regularly. Twisting movements introduce another layer of complexity. Rotation of the spine is not uniform along its length. Some regions are designed for greater rotational freedom, while others prioritize stability. This variation ensures that twisting movements are controlled and do not compromise the integrity of the spinal column. When you turn your upper body, the motion is shared across multiple segments, with each vertebra rotating just enough to contribute without strain. What is remarkable about spinal rotation is how it integrates with other movements. Twisting rarely occurs in isolation. It is often accompanied by subtle bending or shifting of weight. These combined motions allow the spine to adapt to tasks such as reaching, walking, or changing direction. Rather than restricting movement to a single plane, the spine blends motions seamlessly, responding to the demands of the moment. Settling movements are less obvious but equally important. Over time, discs compress slightly, and muscles adapt their tone to maintain balance. This settling is not a sign of weakness. It is a normal response to gravity, allowing the spine to distribute forces efficiently. When the load is removed, such as when lying down, the spine gradually reverses this process, regaining length and hydration. These cycles of loading and unloading are essential for spinal health. They promote fluid movement within discs and maintain the responsiveness of joint tissues. The spine thrives on this rhythm, responding to changes rather than remaining fixed. Even during sleep, small shifts occur as the body changes position, ensuring that no single area remains compressed for too long. The coordination of spinal movement depends on communication between tissues. Sensory receptors in joints, muscles, and ligaments provide continuous feedback about position and load. This information allows the nervous system to adjust muscle tone and joint alignment instantly. The result is movement that feels effortless, guided by internal awareness rather than conscious control. You do not need to think about how to bend or twist. The spine manages these tasks quietly and reliably. As you listen, you may notice that simply attending to the idea of spinal motion creates a sense of ease. Awareness alone can invite subtle adjustments, allowing the spine to settle into a more comfortable arrangement. This response reflects the deep connection between perception and movement, a connection that operates even in states of rest. Spinal motion also plays a role in energy conservation. By distributing movement across many segments, The spine reduces the need for large muscular contractions. Momentum and gravity are allowed to assist, making movement more economical. Walking, for instance, relies on gentle rotations of the spine that counterbalance the motion of the limbs. These rotations are small, yet they contribute significantly to overall efficiency and comfort. Over time, habitual patterns of spinal motion influence how easily certain movements occur. Regular variation encourages adaptability, while prolonged repetition can lead to localized stiffness. This stiffness is not permanent. It reflects the spine's tendency to adapt to what is asked of it. Introducing gentle changes allows tissues to respond and reorganize, restoring fluidity. The process does not require force, only patience and consistency. Importantly, the spine is designed to accommodate imperfections. Movement does not need to be symmetrical or precise to be effective. The skeleton tolerates variation well, adjusting internally to maintain balance. This tolerance allows humans to move through complex environments, adapting to uneven ground, shifting loads, and unpredictable demands without constant injury. In moments of stillness, the spine continues to move in subtle ways. Breathing, heartbeat, and postural adjustments all create gentle motion along the column. These movements are so small that they often go unnoticed. Yet they contribute to comfort and circulation. Stillness, in this sense, is not the absence of movement. As this session progresses, the spine will remain a central thread, connecting movements of the limbs with the balance of the head and pelvis. For now, it is enough to appreciate the spine as a structure that moves by design, not by effort. It bends, twists, and settles in response to forces it has encountered countless times before. Its motions are quiet, distributed. There is nothing you need to do to support this process. The spine already knows how to move, how to adapt, and how to rest. As you continue listening, you can allow your own spine to respond naturally, trusting in the slow intelligence of its motion and letting each idea arrive and pass with the same gentle rhythm that guides the bones themselves. 7. The skull and the balance of the head. As the exploration of skeletal motion rises upward, the skull comes into view not as a heavy object perched precariously on the spine, but as a carefully balanced structure designed for subtle, continuous adjustment. Although it contains the brain and sensory organs, the skull is not rigidly fixed in place. Instead, it rests atop the uppermost vertebrae in a relationship defined by fine balance and gentle motion. This arrangement allows the head to move freely while remaining remarkably stable, even during complex activities. The skull's position is often described as resting on the spine rather than being held up by it. Rather than requiring constant muscular effort to remain upright, the head is balanced so that gravity assists in maintaining its position. When alignment is comfortable, only minimal muscular activity is needed to keep the head oriented. The skeleton does much of the work through its structure alone, allowing movement to feel light rather than effortful. At the point where the skull meets the spine, specialized joints allow for nodding and turning motions. These joints are shaped to permit a wide range of movement while protecting delicate structures such as the spinal cord and blood vessels. The surfaces involved are smooth and precisely contoured, encouraging motion along predictable paths. When you turn your head or tilt it slightly, these movements unfold quietly, guided by anatomy rather than force. The weight of the skull is often underestimated. Despite appearing compact, it accounts for a significant portion of the body's mass. Yet this weight does not translate into strain when the skeleton is functioning well. The skull's center of mass is positioned so that it can balance easily above the spine. Small shifts in position are accommodated by equally small adjustments at the joints, preserving equilibrium without effort. This balance is essential for maintaining orientation in space. The head houses organs responsible for vision, hearing, and balance, all of which depend on stable positioning to function effectively. Even as the body moves, The skull adjusts to keep these systems aligned with the environment. During walking, for example, subtle movements of the neck counteract the motion of the body below, allowing the gaze to remain steady. These adjustments happen automatically, refined through lifelong experience. The neck itself plays a crucial role in this process. It is composed of multiple vertebrae that allow for flexibility while supporting the skull's weight. Each segment contributes a small amount of motion, creating a smooth arc rather than abrupt shifts. This segmented design ensures that movements are distributed and controlled, reducing stress on any single joint. The result is a sense of ease when moving the head, even during prolonged activity. Resting positions reveal another aspect of this balance. The skeleton responds by adjusting alignment, allowing muscles to relax. This settling is not passive collapse, but a guided repositioning that maintains comfort and circulation. Even in sleep, small adjustments occur as the body seeks optimal balance. The skull is often thought of as a single bone, yet it is composed of many bones fused together over time. In early life, these bones are separated by flexible connections, allowing growth and adaptation. As development progresses, they gradually unite, forming a protective enclosure for the brain. This fusion does not eliminate all movement. Subtle shifts still occur at the junction with the spine, preserving mobility where it is needed most. Within the skull, the jaw introduces another dimension of motion. Although not always considered part of head balance, the jaw's position influences the distribution of forces through the skull and neck. Speaking, chewing, and swallowing all involve gentle movements that ripple through surrounding structures. These actions are integrated seamlessly into overall head motion, coordinated without conscious effort. The balance of the head is also influenced by sensory feedback. Inner ear structures provide constant information about orientation and movement. This information allows the nervous system to fine-tune muscle activity around the neck and upper spine. When balance shifts, adjustments occur instantly, keeping the head aligned with gravity and motion. This responsiveness contributes to the feeling of stability that persists even during dynamic activities. As you listen, you may become aware of a sense of spaciousness around the head and neck. There is no need to hold the head in a particular position. The skeleton already understands how to balance it. Awareness alone can encourage release, allowing the head to settle naturally into support. This release often brings a sense of ease, reflecting the reduction of unnecessary muscular effort. Over time, habitual patterns can influence head balance. Prolonged positions or repeated movements may encourage certain alignments. These patterns are not fixed. The skeleton remains adaptable, responding to gentle variation and rest. Allowing the head to move freely within comfortable ranges supports this adaptability, maintaining the ease of motion that characterizes healthy biomechanics. The skull's balance also affects the rest of the body. Because it sits at the top of the skeletal chain, its position influences alignment below. Small shifts in head position can alter the distribution of forces through the spine, shoulders, and pelvis. When the head is balanced comfortably, these forces are shared evenly, reducing strain throughout the body. The skeleton operates as an integrated system, with balance at the top contributing to ease below. In moments of stillness, the head continues to make tiny adjustments, guided by breath and subtle changes in support. These movements are often imperceptible, yet they play a role in maintaining comfort. Stillness, like movement, is an active state for the skeleton, defined by continuous adaptation rather than rigidity. As this session progresses, the skull will remain an anchor point for understanding how balance and motion coexist. For now, it is enough to appreciate the head not as a burden to be held up, but as a structure designed to rest easily on the spine. Its balance is maintained through shape, alignment, and gentle motion, all working together quietly. There is nothing you need to correct or improve. The skeleton already knows how to balance the head, just as it knows how to bend As you continue listening, you can allow your own head to rest comfortably, trusting in the subtle intelligence of its design and letting each moment of awareness arrive and fade with the same calm rhythm that guides the bones themselves. 8. The shoulder girdle, designed for freedom. As attention shifts outward from the spine and head, the shoulder region reveals a different philosophy of skeletal design, where the spine emphasizes shared motion and stability. The shoulder girdle prioritizes freedom. It allows the arms to move through wide arcs, reaching into space with ease and adaptability. This freedom is not accidental. It is the result of a unique arrangement of bones that connect the upper limbs to the rest of the skeleton in a way that favors mobility over rigidity. Unlike the pelvis, which anchors the legs firmly to the spine, the shoulder girdle is lightly attached. It consists primarily of the clavicle and scapula, which together form a floating platform for the arms. These bones do not lock the upper limbs into a fixed position. Instead, they suspend them from the trunk, allowing movement to originate not only at the shoulder joint itself, but also through subtle shifts of the shoulder girdle as a whole. The clavicle, often called the collarbone, acts as a gentle strut between the sternum and the scapula. It holds the shoulder away from the center of the body, creating space for movement while transmitting forces from the arm into the torso. This bone is curved rather than straight, a shape that allows it to absorb and distribute forces without becoming rigid. When the arm moves, the clavicle rotates and glides, adjusting its position to support the changing demands. The scapula, or shoulder blade, rests against the back of the rib cage, not fixed by joints in the traditional sense, but held in place by muscles. This arrangement allows the scapula to slide, tilt, and rotate smoothly over the ribs. These movements are essential for full range of motion in the arm. When you reach overhead, for example, the scapula rotates upward, increasing the space available at the shoulder joint and preventing compression. This coordinated movement between the scapula, clavicle, and upper arm is known as scapulohumeral rhythm. It reflects the principle that no single joint is responsible for large movements. Instead, motion is shared among multiple structures, each contributing a portion. This sharing reduces stress and allows movement to feel fluid rather than forced. The skeleton, once again, demonstrates its preference for cooperation over isolation. The shoulder joint itself is a ball and socket arrangement, but unlike the hip, it sacrifices depth for freedom. The socket is shallow, allowing the arm to move in many directions. Stability is provided not by bone alone, but by surrounding muscles and connective tissues. This design allows for remarkable mobility, enabling activities such as throwing, reaching, and lifting objects overhead. The trade-off is that the shoulder relies on coordination rather than sheer structural containment. Despite this reliance on soft tissues, the skeleton provides essential guidance. The shape of the joint surfaces and the alignment of the bones encourage movement along safe paths. When the arm moves within comfortable ranges, the joint remains centered and supported. The sensation of ease reflects this alignment, indicating that the skeleton is guiding motion effectively. The shoulder girdle also plays a role in transmitting forces from the arms to the rest of the body. When you push, pull, or carry something, the forces generated by the arms travel through the shoulder girdle into the spine and rib cage. The clavicle acts as a bridge in this process, ensuring that forces are distributed rather than concentrated. This distribution protects delicate joints and allows effort to be shared across larger structures. At rest, the shoulder girdle continues its quiet work. Gravity draws the arms downward, and the scapulae settle against the rib cage. Muscles adjust their tone to maintain balance, allowing the shoulders to feel supported without tension. When lying down, these forces change, and the shoulder girdle adapts accordingly. Bones and muscles reposition themselves to accommodate the new orientation, preserving comfort. Breathing also influences shoulder movement. As the ribcage expands and contracts, the scapulae respond subtly, shifting their position in response to changes in thoracic shape. This interaction underscores the interconnectedness of skeletal regions. The shoulder girdle does not operate independently of the torso. Over time, patterns of use shape how the shoulder girdle moves. Repeated activities encourage certain pathways, while others may become less familiar. This adaptation is gradual and reversible. Gentle variation in movement allows the shoulder girdle to maintain its versatility, preserving the wide range of motion that defines it. The skeleton remains responsive, ready to adjust when new demands arise. As you listen, you may become aware of sensations in your shoulders, perhaps a sense of openness or gentle settling. There is no need to move deliberately. Awareness alone can invite release, allowing the shoulder girdle to rest in its natural balance. This release often reduces unnecessary muscular effort, reflecting the skeleton's ability to support the arms with minimal strain. The design of the shoulder girdle highlights an important principle of human biomechanics. Freedom does not imply lack of structure. The bones involved provide just enough guidance to support movement without restricting it. This balance allows the arms to interact with the environment in complex ways, from delicate manipulation to powerful actions, all while maintaining comfort. As the session continues, the shoulder girdle will serve as a reminder that different regions of the skeleton embody different priorities. Where the spine balances stability and flexibility, the shoulders emphasize reach and adaptability. Together, these regions create a body capable of both grounded support and expansive movement. For now, it is enough to rest with the understanding that your shoulders are designed to move freely, guided by a thoughtful arrangement of bones. The clavicle and scapula work quietly to support the arms, allowing motion to flow outward from the center. As you continue listening, you can allow this region to soften and settle, trusting in the gentle intelligence of its design and the effortless freedom it provides. 9. The upper arm and elbow. Simple strength, quiet precision. As attention moves from the shoulder girdle down into the arm itself, the upper limb reveals a balance between strength and delicacy that is central to human movement. The upper arm and elbow are not designed for brute force alone, nor are they meant solely for fine control. Instead, they combine both qualities in a way that allows the arm to lift, carry, reach, and adjust with remarkable efficiency. This balance is achieved through a straightforward skeletal design that favors clarity of motion over complexity. The upper arm is formed by a single long bone that extends from the shoulder to the elbow. This bone serves as a stable lever, transmitting forces generated by muscles into purposeful movement. Its length provides reach, while its shape supports rotation and alignment within the shoulder joint. Despite its apparent simplicity, the upper arm bone plays a central role in positioning the hand in space, allowing actions to be directed outward with confidence and control. At the elbow, this long lever meets two bones of the forearm, creating a joint that is both sturdy and responsive. The elbow is often described as a hinge, and while this description captures part of its function, it does not fully convey its subtlety. The elbow allows bending and straightening, but it also participates in gentle rotational movements that influence how the hand is oriented. These combined motions expand the arm's versatility, enabling tasks that range from lifting objects to adjusting grip with precision. The hinge-like nature of the elbow provides a sense of reliability. This predictability allows the muscles involved to work efficiently, producing force where it is needed without excessive adjustment. The skeleton supports this clarity through the shape of the joint surfaces, which guide motion and limit unnecessary deviation. Stability at the elbow does not come from rigidity, but from cooperation among bones and connective tissues. Ligaments surrounding the joint provide gentle restraint, ensuring that movement remains within comfortable limits. Instead, they allow motion to unfold freely, until a boundary is reached, at which point resistance increases smoothly. This gradual resistance protects the joint without interrupting motion. The relationship between the upper arm and forearm highlights an important biomechanical principle. Leverage does not require complexity. By arranging bones in clear, functional alignments, the skeleton allows muscles to generate meaningful movement with modest effort. When you lift your forearm, the bones rotate around the elbow in a way that feels natural and direct. The sensation of ease reflects the effectiveness of this arrangement. Rotation of the forearm adds another dimension to elbow function. Although this movement involves the forearm bones themselves, the elbow provides the stable anchor around which rotation occurs. This allows the hand to turn palm up or palm down without requiring large movements at the shoulder. The skeleton thus distributes motion across multiple joints, preserving comfort and efficiency. These movements are rarely isolated. When the elbow bends, the shoulder often adjusts slightly, and the scapula may shift to support the change. This coordination ensures that no single joint bears excessive load. The arm operates as a chain, with each segment contributing to the overall action. The skeleton facilitates this cooperation by aligning joints in ways that encourage smooth transitions. At rest, the upper arm and elbow continue to participate in subtle adjustments. Gravity influences the position of the arm, and the skeleton responds by settling into alignment that minimizes effort. When the arm hangs by the side, the elbow is not locked. These micro-adjustments reflect the living nature of the skeleton, even in stillness. The elbow's role in daily activity is often taken for granted, yet it is essential for positioning the hand accurately. Simple actions such as bringing food to the mouth or adjusting clothing depend on the elbow's ability to guide the forearm smoothly. These movements are refined through repetition, with the skeleton adapting gradually to habitual patterns. Over time, the elbow becomes adept at supporting frequently used motions, reinforcing its reliability. Variation in movement helps maintain this adaptability. When the arm moves through a range of positions, the joint surfaces experience different patterns of contact, promoting even distribution of forces. This variation supports joint health and preserves ease of motion. The skeleton does not require constant activity, but it benefits from gentle diversity, allowing tissues to respond and renew. The clarity of elbow movement also contributes to a sense of confidence in action. Because the joint's pathways are well defined, the body can rely on them without hesitation. This reliability frees attention for other tasks, allowing movements to occur automatically. The skeleton, in this sense, supports not only physical action, but also mental ease, reducing the need for conscious control. As you listen, you may notice sensations in your own arms, perhaps a feeling of heaviness or lightness. There is no need to change anything. These sensations are simply reflections of how the skeleton and muscles are interacting with gravity and support. Awareness alone can invite the arm to settle more comfortably, allowing unnecessary tension to release. The design of the upper arm and elbow illustrates how simplicity can yield versatility. By providing clear pathways for movement, the skeleton allows the arm to function across a wide range of tasks without strain. Strength emerges not from rigidity, but from alignment and cooperation. As this session continues, the focus will move further down the arm, exploring how smaller bones and joints contribute to refined motion. For now, it is enough to appreciate the quiet reliability of the upper arm and elbow. They support action with steady confidence, guiding movement in ways that feel natural and unforced. You do not need to instruct your arm on how to move. The skeleton already understands its role, balancing strength and precision through thoughtful design. As you continue listening, you can allow your arms to rest or adjust as they wish, trusting in the simple, enduring intelligence that guides their motion moment by moment. 10. The wrist and hand. Motion in small spaces. As attention continues down the arm, the wrist and hand reveal a different scale of movement, one defined not by large arcs or powerful leverage, but by intricate coordination within small spaces. Here, the skeleton shifts its emphasis from broad strength to refined adaptability. The wrist and hand are composed of many small bones working together, allowing motion that is precise, responsive, and quietly expressive. This region illustrates how complexity can remain calm when guided by thoughtful structure. The wrist forms a gentle transition between the forearm and the hand, rather than acting as a single joint. It is a collection of closely arranged bones that glide against one another in subtle ways. These bones create a flexible platform that allows the hand to tilt, bend, and adjust orientation smoothly. The movement is not abrupt or mechanical. It unfolds as a coordinated response to forces arriving from above and demands arising below. This arrangement allows the wrist to absorb and redirect forces rather than transmitting them directly. When the hand meets an object or surface, the wrist adjusts, distributing pressure across its many articulations. This distribution protects both the hand and the forearm, allowing interaction with the environment to feel gentle rather than jarring. Even simple actions, such as resting the hand on a surface, involve small adjustments that enhance comfort. The bones of the hand extend this principle further. Each finger contains multiple segments connected by joints that allow bending and straightening in clear, predictable paths. These joints are supported by ligaments that guide motion while preventing excess. The result is a hand that can grasp firmly or release delicately, shifting seamlessly between strength and sensitivity. The skeleton supports this versatility by offering stability where needed and freedom where beneficial. The thumb deserves special mention, not for its prominence, but for its role in expanding the hand's functional range. Its orientation allows it to move across the palm, meeting the fingers in a way that enables grasping and manipulation. This capability is not the result of muscular force alone. It arises from the thumb's skeletal alignment, which places it at an angle that encourages opposition and control. Despite the apparent complexity of the hand, movement remains efficient. The many joints do not compete with one another. Instead, they cooperate, each contributing a small adjustment that supports the overall action. When you hold an object, the fingers adapt to its shape automatically. The skeleton provides a framework that allows this adaptation to occur without conscious calculation. The wrist and hand also illustrate how motion and sensation are closely linked. Bones move in response to tactile feedback, adjusting position based on contact and pressure. This responsiveness allows the hand to interact with objects gently, maintaining grip without excessive force. The skeleton supports this process by aligning joints in ways that favor subtle shifts rather than rigid holds. At rest, the wrist and hand remain active in quiet ways. Gravity influences their position, and the skeleton responds by settling into shapes that reduce strain. Fingers may curl slightly, joints finding comfortable alignment without instruction. These resting positions are not signs of inactivity, but expressions of a living system maintaining balance and readiness. Breathing and posture influence the wrist and hand indirectly. Changes in shoulder or spinal alignment alter how forces travel down the arm, and the wrist adapts accordingly. This interconnectedness ensures that motion remains coordinated throughout the limb. Even small changes higher up can be felt and accommodated at the hand, reflecting the skeleton's integrated design. Over time, habitual use shapes how the wrist and hand move. Repeated actions encourage certain pathways, while others become less familiar. This adaptation is gradual and flexible. Introducing gentle variation allows the skeleton to remain responsive, preserving the wide range of motion that characterizes the hand. The bones do not resist change, they accommodate it, provided it occurs within reasonable limits. The wrist's ability to combine stability with flexibility is particularly evident during weight-bearing tasks. When the hand supports the body, the wrist aligns its bones to distribute load evenly. This alignment reduces stress on individual joints, allowing support without discomfort. The skeleton demonstrates once again its preference for shared responsibility rather than isolated effort. As you listen, you may become aware of sensations in your own hands, perhaps a sense of warmth, heaviness, or ease. There is no need to move or adjust. Awareness alone allows the skeleton to settle into comfortable alignment. The fine movements of the hand also play a role in communication and expression. Gestures, writing, and touch all rely on the skeleton's ability to support controlled motion. These actions feel natural because the bones are arranged to facilitate them. The hand does not require constant correction. It operates through patterns refined over a lifetime. Importantly, the wrist and hand are designed to tolerate variation. Perfect precision is not required for effective movement. The skeleton accommodates differences in shape, size, and use, adjusting internally to maintain function. This tolerance allows hands to interact with diverse environments and tasks without constant strain. As this session continues, the focus will eventually shift away from the upper limb and toward the lower body, where different demands shape skeletal design. For now, it is enough to appreciate the quiet sophistication of the wrist and hand. They operate in small spaces, yet their movements are expansive in effect, enabling interaction, creation, and connection. You do not need to instruct your hands on how to behave. The skeleton already provides the guidance they need. As you continue listening, you can allow your hands to rest or move gently as they wish, trusting in the calm intelligence of their structure and the effortless precision it supports, moment by moment. 11. The rib cage. Movement through breath. As focus moves inward toward the center of the torso, the rib cage appears not as a rigid cage, but as a living structure shaped by rhythm and motion. Its primary task is protection, yet it achieves this without sacrificing flexibility. The rib cage surrounds vital organs, but it also expands and contracts with every breath, adapting continuously to the needs of respiration and posture. This gentle movement, repeated thousands of times each day, reveals how motion can be constant without ever feeling effortful. The ribs form a curved framework around the chest, attaching at the back to the spine and, in most cases, connecting at the front through cartilage rather than bone. This choice of material is significant. Cartilage provides resilience, allowing the rib cage to change shape slightly as it moves. When you inhale, the ribs lift and rotate outward, increasing the volume of the chest cavity. When you exhale, they settle back inward, guided by gravity and elastic recoil. This cycle unfolds quietly, often unnoticed, yet it is essential for life. Each rib participates in this movement in its own way. Together, these motions create a three-dimensional change in the shape of the chest. The rib cage does not simply rise and fall. It widens, lengthens, and subtly reshapes itself, accommodating the flow of air with minimal effort. The skeleton supports this complexity through joint surfaces that guide motion smoothly. At the back, where ribs meet the spine, small joints allow controlled rotation and gliding. They move just enough to support breathing without compromising stability. Over a lifetime, they perform millions of small movements, a testament to the durability of their design. The skeleton favors reliability here, ensuring that breathing remains effortless even as posture and activity change. The sternum, or breastbone, plays a central role in coordinating rib movement. Connected to the ribs by cartilage, it shifts slightly with each breath, moving forward and upward during inhalation and settling back during exhalation. This motion is subtle, yet it contributes significantly to the expansion of the chest. The sternum's position also influences the balance of the upper body, linking breathing with posture. Breath does not occur in isolation from the rest of the skeleton. As the ribcage moves, the spine responds. Small adjustments occur in the thoracic vertebrae, accommodating the changing shape of the chest. This coordination ensures that breathing does not disrupt balance. Even during deep breaths, The skeleton distributes motion evenly, preventing strain in any single area. The diaphragm, though not a bone, interacts closely with the rib cage and spine. As it contracts and descends during inhalation, it influences the position of the lower ribs and lumbar spine. This interaction creates a gentle wave of movement through the torso, linking breath with the rest of the body. The skeleton provides the framework that allows this wave to move freely, supporting respiration without rigidity. At rest, the ribcage continues its rhythmic motion. Even shallow breathing involves small shifts that maintain circulation and tissue health. These movements are automatic, guided by the shape and alignment of bones rather than conscious control. The skeleton allows breathing to remain efficient even during sleep, adjusting quietly to changes in position. Posture influences how the ribcage moves, but not in a rigid way. When sitting or standing, the ribcage adapts to the orientation of the spine. If the torso leans forward, the pattern of rib movement shifts slightly, still accommodating breath. When lying down, gravity alters how the ribs move, yet breathing continues smoothly. The skeleton's adaptability ensures that respiration remains reliable across varied positions. Over time, habitual patterns can shape ribcage movement. Certain postures may encourage more motion in some areas than others. This adaptation is gradual and flexible. Gentle variation, such as changing positions or allowing deeper breaths at times, supports even movement across the ribcage. The skeleton responds patiently, adjusting without resistance. As you listen, you may become aware of your own breathing, perhaps noticing the rise and fall of the chest or the gentle widening of the ribs. There is no need to control or deepen the breath. Awareness alone often allows breathing to become more comfortable as the skeleton settles into its natural rhythm. The rib cage knows how to move. It has been practicing since the first moments of life. The movement of the rib cage also influences the shoulders and neck. As the ribs lift, the shoulder girdle adjusts subtly, accommodating changes in chest shape. These adjustments prevent tension from accumulating, allowing the upper body to remain relaxed. The skeleton's interconnected design ensures that breathing supports, rather than disrupts, overall ease. Protection remains one of the ribcage's central roles. Despite its mobility, it forms a strong enclosure for the heart and lungs. This strength does not come from immobility, but from structure. The curved shape of the ribs distributes forces, allowing impact to be absorbed and redirected. Movement and protection coexist, each enhancing the other. In moments of stillness, such as quiet rest or sleep, the rib cage continues its gentle motion. Breathing becomes slower, yet the same principles apply. Ribs lift and settle, joints glide, and tissues respond. The skeleton does not switch off. It maintains the rhythm that sustains life, quietly and consistently. Understanding the rib cage as a moving structure can soften the experience of breathing. Rather than something to manage or optimize, breath can be seen as a natural expression of skeletal motion. The bones guide the process, allowing air to flow without strain. This perspective invites trust in the body's design. As this session continues, the rib cage will serve as a bridge between upper and lower body, linking breath with posture and movement. For now, it is enough to rest with the awareness that your rib cage is in motion, even as you lie or sit still. Its gentle expansion and release reflect the skeleton's capacity to support life through quiet, rhythmic movement. There is nothing you need to change. Each breath unfolds within a framework designed to accommodate it. As you continue listening, you can allow your attention to drift with the rhythm of breathing, trusting in the calm intelligence of the rib cage and the effortless motion it sustains, moment after moment. 12. The pelvis, foundation of upright motion. As attention moves downward from the rib cage into the center of the body, The pelvis emerges as a quiet foundation, one that supports upright posture while allowing movement to pass smoothly between the upper and lower halves of the skeleton. The pelvis is often thought of as a static basin, yet in practice, it is an adaptable structure, constantly responding to shifts in weight, changes in position, and the rhythm of walking and breathing. Its design reflects a careful balance between stability and mobility, allowing it to bear load without becoming rigid. The pelvis forms a broad ring of bone, connecting the spine above to the legs below. This ring is composed of several bones joined together, creating a strong yet resilient base. Its shape distributes the weight of the upper body across a wide surface, reducing stress on any single point. When standing, the pelvis accepts the downward force of gravity and channels it into the legs, guiding weight toward the ground in an efficient and balanced way. Unlike the shoulder girdle, which prioritizes freedom of movement, the pelvis emphasizes support, yet this support does not come at the expense of motion. The pelvis tilts, rotates, and subtly shifts with each step, allowing the spine and legs to move in coordination. These movements are small, often unnoticed, but they are essential for smooth, economical walking. The pelvis does not remain fixed. As the body moves forward, it participates actively, adjusting to maintain balance and momentum. At the back of the pelvis, the connection to the spine occurs through joints designed for stability with limited motion. These joints allow just enough movement to accommodate changes in posture and load. When you bend, twist, or shift your weight, the pelvis responds with slight adjustments that protect the spine and distribute force evenly. This restrained mobility reflects the pelvis's role as a mediator rather than a driver of movement. The shape of the pelvis also plays a role in balance. Its width provides a stable base for the trunk, while its orientation influences how the spine stacks above it. Small changes in pelvic position can alter the alignment of the entire body, affecting how forces travel upward and downward. The skeleton responds to these changes automatically, adjusting muscle tone and joint positions to maintain comfort. Walking highlights the pelvis's dynamic role. As one leg moves forward and the other supports the body, the pelvis rotates gently, allowing stride length to increase without excessive effort. This rotation is subtle, yet it contributes significantly to efficiency. By sharing motion between the legs and the pelvis, the skeleton reduces the workload on individual joints. Movement becomes smoother and less tiring, even over long distances. The pelvis also adapts during sitting and resting. When seated, it adjusts its position relative to the spine, allowing weight to be supported by the sitting bones. This adaptation reduces strain on the lower back and allows the spine to relax. When lying down, the pelvis settles into the surface beneath it, redistributing pressure and encouraging recovery. In each position, the skeleton finds a balance that minimizes effort. Breathing influences pelvic movement as well. As the diaphragm moves and abdominal pressure changes, subtle shifts occur within the pelvis. These shifts help maintain internal balance and support circulation. The skeleton integrates these movements seamlessly, linking breath with posture and stability. This integration reflects the pelvis's role as a central hub rather than an isolated structure. Over time, habitual patterns shape how the pelvis moves. Repeated postures and activities encourage certain alignments, while others may become less familiar. This adaptation is gradual and flexible. The pelvis responds to what it experiences most often, adjusting its internal structure and movement patterns accordingly. Gentle variation allows it to remain adaptable, preserving comfort and mobility. The pelvis's role in load transfer becomes especially clear during lifting or carrying. When weight is added, the pelvis aligns itself to support the increased demand, coordinating with the spine and legs. This coordination prevents excessive strain in any one area. The skeleton favors shared responsibility, allowing forces to be distributed across multiple structures. As you listen, You may become aware of sensations in your own pelvic region, perhaps a sense of grounding or gentle weight. There is no need to adjust or analyze these sensations. They reflect the skeleton's ongoing work of balance and support. Awareness alone can encourage the pelvis to settle into a comfortable position, reducing unnecessary tension. The design of the pelvis also accommodates differences among individuals. The skeleton adapts to these variations without compromising function. Upright motion remains possible across a wide range of forms, demonstrating the pelvis's versatility. Importantly, the pelvis supports movement without demanding constant attention. The skeleton already understands these tasks, refined through countless repetitions. This reliability allows movement to occur automatically, freeing the mind to rest or focus elsewhere. In moments of stillness, the pelvis continues to respond to subtle changes in load and support. Small adjustments occur as muscles relax and gravity shifts. These adjustments are gentle and continuous, maintaining comfort over time. Stillness, like motion, involves active adaptation rather than complete cessation. As this session continues, the pelvis will remain a key reference point, connecting the movements of the legs with the stability of the trunk. For now, it is enough to appreciate the pelvis as a foundation that moves, rather than a base that resists change. Its strength lies in its ability to adapt, to share load, and to guide motion smoothly. There is nothing you need to correct or hold in place. The pelvis already knows how to support you. As you continue listening, you can allow this central structure to rest comfortably, trusting in the calm intelligence of its design and the quiet efficiency with which it supports upright motion, step by step and breath by breath. 13. The hip joint. As attention moves further downward into the connection between the pelvis and the legs, the hip joint reveals itself as one of the most influential structures in human movement. It carries the weight of the upper body, transmits forces into the legs, and allows motion to flow smoothly between standing, walking, and sitting. Despite these demands, the hip joint is designed to operate with a sense of calm reliability, combining depth and strength with an ease of movement that often goes unnoticed. The hip joint is a classic ball and socket arrangement, yet its character differs markedly from that of the shoulder. Where the shoulder favors freedom, the hip favors security. The socket of the hip is deep, enveloping the rounded head of the thigh bone. This depth provides inherent stability, allowing the joint to support body weight without relying excessively on muscular effort. The skeleton ensures that the hip can bear load day after day without fatigue, provided movement remains within its natural pathways. This stability does not eliminate mobility. The hip allows movement in multiple directions, including bending, straightening, rotating, and shifting side to side. These movements are essential for walking, climbing, and adjusting posture. What distinguishes hip motion is its sense of groundedness. Even as the leg moves freely, the joint maintains a feeling of containment, guiding motion in a way that feels secure rather than precarious. Walking offers a clear illustration of the hip's role. As one leg swings forward, the hip joint of the supporting leg accepts the body's weight. The pelvis shifts slightly, and the hip aligns to bear load efficiently. This transition occurs smoothly, without interruption, allowing momentum to carry the body forward. The skeleton coordinates these changes seamlessly, distributing forces across bones and joints to minimize strain. The hip joint's depth also contributes to balance. Because the socket holds the thigh bone securely, small adjustments in alignment can stabilize the entire body. When standing on one leg, the hip responds to shifts in weight with subtle changes in position. These adjustments are often imperceptible, yet they are constant, reflecting the joint's role as a central stabilizer. At rest, the hip joint continues to adapt. When lying down, the orientation of the joint changes again, The skeleton recognizes these shifts instinctively, adjusting alignment to maintain comfort without conscious effort. The surfaces of the hip joint are smooth and well matched, allowing movement to occur with minimal friction. Cartilage cushions contact, distributing pressure evenly across the joint. This design supports longevity, enabling the hip to perform countless cycles of movement over a lifetime. The joint thrives on regular, gentle use, responding to motion by maintaining its resilience. Muscles surrounding the hip contribute to both movement and stability, yet they do not bear the entire responsibility. This allows muscles to work efficiently, fine-tuning motion rather than compensating for structural weakness. The sensation of ease, often associated with comfortable walking, reflects this balanced partnership. Rotation at the hip plays a subtle but important role in movement. As the leg swings during walking, the hip rotates slightly, allowing the foot to land smoothly and align with the ground. This rotation reduces torsional stress on the knee and ankle, protecting them from excessive strain. The skeleton thus uses the hip as a mediator, distributing rotational forces in a controlled manner. Over time, habitual patterns influence hip movement. Repeated activities encourage certain ranges and pathways, while others may become less familiar. This adaptation is gradual and responsive. Gentle variation supports even distribution of forces, preserving mobility and comfort. The hip remains capable of adjustment throughout life, responding to changes in activity and posture. As you listen, you may become aware of sensations in your own hips, perhaps a sense of weight, warmth, or gentle openness. There is no need to alter these sensations. They reflect the skeleton's ongoing work of balance and support. Awareness alone often allows the joint to settle into comfortable alignment, reducing unnecessary tension. The hip joint's role extends beyond locomotion. It influences how the spine aligns above and how the legs interact with the ground below. Because it sits at the intersection of these regions, its position affects the entire skeletal chain. Small changes in hip alignment can alter posture, balance, and ease of movement. The skeleton responds to these changes automatically, maintaining continuity. Importantly, the hip is designed to tolerate load. Standing, walking, and even running rely on its capacity to accept force without complaint. This tolerance does not imply invulnerability, but it reflects the joint's robust design. When movement follows natural patterns, the hip distributes forces effectively, reducing wear and supporting longevity. In moments of stillness, the hip joint remains engaged in subtle adjustments. Gravity influences its orientation, and surrounding tissues respond. These micro-movements help maintain circulation and comfort, preventing stiffness. Stillness, as elsewhere in the skeleton, is an active state defined by continuous adaptation. As this session continues, attention will move further down the legs, exploring how the knee, ankle, and foot contribute to upright motion. For now, it is enough to appreciate the hip as a joint that blends depth with flow. It supports the body's weight while allowing movement to pass through smoothly, connecting stability with freedom. There is nothing you need to manage or correct. The skeleton already understands how to use the hip joint to support you. As you continue listening, you can allow this region to rest comfortably, trusting in the quiet strength of its design and the gentle rhythm with which it guides motion, step after step, moment after moment. 14. The thigh and knee, guided forward motion. As attention continues downward from the hip, the thigh and knee emerge as central contributors to forward movement. Together, they form a system designed to carry weight, guide direction, and conserve energy with every step. The thigh provides length and leverage, while the knee offers controlled transition between bending and straightening. This partnership allows the body to move forward smoothly, transforming shifts in balance into steady progression. The thigh bone is the longest and strongest bone in the human body, Its length creates a powerful lever that supports the body's weight while allowing the leg to swing efficiently. Despite its strength, the thigh bone is not simply a rigid pillar. Its slight curves and angled alignment reflect its role in transmitting forces between the hip and knee. These features allow load to be distributed evenly, reducing stress and supporting durability over time. When standing, the thigh aligns beneath the pelvis, channeling weight downward toward the knee and foot. This alignment minimizes muscular effort, allowing the skeleton to bear load through structure rather than tension. The sensation of stability in standing reflects this arrangement. The bones stack in a way that feels secure, even when muscles remain relatively relaxed. As walking begins, the thigh plays a dynamic role. It swings forward from the hip, carrying the lower leg with it. This swing is guided by momentum as much as muscle action. Once initiated, the movement continues smoothly, reflecting the skeleton's preference for efficiency. The thigh does not need to be lifted forcefully. Its length and mass allow gravity and motion to assist, reducing effort. The knee sits between the thigh and lower leg, acting as a transitional joint that allows forward motion while maintaining support. It is often described as a hinge, yet its function is more nuanced. While it bends and straightens in a clear pathway, it also accommodates slight rotational adjustments that align the leg during movement. These adjustments ensure that forces travel smoothly through the joint rather than accumulating in one direction. During walking, the knee alternates between stability and mobility. When the foot contacts the ground, the knee straightens enough to support weight, creating a stable column beneath the body. As the leg prepares to swing forward, the knee bends, shortening the limb and allowing it to clear the ground. This cycle repeats with each step, guided by timing rather than force. The skeleton supports this rhythm through joint surfaces shaped to encourage smooth tracking. The contours of the bones ensure that bending and straightening occur along predictable paths. Ligaments surrounding the knee provide gentle guidance, limiting excessive movement while allowing necessary freedom. This balance allows the knee to function reliably across a wide range of activities. The thigh and knee also contribute to shock absorption. When the foot meets the ground, the knee bends slightly, allowing the leg to absorb impact. This bending reduces the transmission of force upward into the pelvis and spine. The thigh bone participates by aligning to distribute load, ensuring that impact is shared across joints rather than concentrated. At rest, the thigh and knee continue to adapt to gravity. When seated, the knee bends comfortably, allowing the thigh to support weight against the surface beneath. The skeleton recognizes this position and adjusts alignment accordingly. When lying down, the relationship between thigh and knee changes again, redistributing pressure and encouraging recovery. The knee's role in forward motion is also evident during transitions such as standing up or sitting down. As the body rises, the knee straightens gradually. This movement feels smooth when the skeleton is allowed to guide it, with muscles providing support rather than force. The sense of ease reflects the joint's design for repeated, controlled motion. Rotation plays a subtle role here as well. This coordination ensures that the foot lands in alignment with the direction of travel. Without this subtle interplay, movement would feel awkward or strained. The skeleton manages these adjustments automatically, maintaining flow. Over time, habitual movement patterns influence how the thigh and knee interact. Regular walking encourages balanced use, while prolonged stillness may lead to stiffness. This stiffness is not permanent. The skeleton remains responsive, adapting gradually when movement resumes. Gentle variation supports this adaptability, allowing joints to regain comfort and range. As you listen, you may become aware of sensations in your thighs or knees, perhaps a sense of warmth, heaviness, or gentle settling. There is no need to interpret these sensations. They reflect the skeleton's ongoing work of balance and adaptation. Awareness alone can allow these regions to relax into comfortable alignment. The thigh and knee illustrate how the skeleton guides forward motion without urgency. Walking does not require constant effort. Once rhythm is established, movement flows naturally, supported by structure and timing. The bones provide the framework, allowing muscles to act efficiently rather than straining. Importantly, the knee is designed to tolerate repeated movement. It bends and straightens thousands of times each day, guided by surfaces that distribute force and protect tissues. When movement follows natural pathways, the joint remains resilient, adapting quietly to demands. In moments of stillness, the knee does not lock. It remains slightly responsive, allowing small adjustments that maintain circulation and comfort. This responsiveness prevents rigidity, supporting long-term ease. Stillness, once again, is revealed as a state of gentle adaptation rather than inactivity. As this session continues, attention will move further down toward the ankle and foot, where contact with the ground shapes movement. For now, it is enough to appreciate the thigh and knee as partners in guided forward motion. They carry the body with steady reliability, translating shifts in balance into smooth progression. There is nothing you need to correct or control. The skeleton already understands how to move forward. As you continue listening, you can allow your legs to rest or adjust naturally, trusting in the calm intelligence that guides each step, each bend, and each moment of support with quiet precision. 15. The knee as a moving hinge. As focus returns more closely to the knee itself, it becomes clear that this joint is not simply a passive hinge, but an active guide for movement that blends stability with subtle adaptability. The knee supports the body's weight, allows the leg to shorten and lengthen, and manages the transfer of force between the thigh and the lower leg. Despite the frequency with which it is used, the knee performs its role quietly, relying on structure and timing rather than strength alone. At its core, the knee allows bending and straightening, movements that are essential for walking, sitting, and rising. These actions occur along a well-defined pathway, shaped by the contours of the bones involved. The ends of the thigh bone and the top of the lower leg meet in a way that encourages predictable motion. As the knee bends, the bones roll and glide against one another, maintaining contact while distributing pressure evenly. This interaction allows the joint to move smoothly without slipping or grinding. The knee's hinge-like behavior is guided by its alignment. When the leg straightens, the bones align to form a supportive column beneath the body. This alignment allows weight to pass downward efficiently, minimizing the need for muscular effort. Standing feels stable not because muscles are holding the knee rigidly, but because the skeleton itself provides support through structure. The knee locks gently into position without becoming immobile, remaining ready to adjust as needed. As bending begins, the knee unlocks with minimal effort. The joint surfaces guide the movement, allowing the leg to shorten smoothly. This bending is essential for shock absorption. When the foot meets the ground, the knee bends slightly. The skeleton manages this transition automatically, allowing movement to remain comfortable and controlled. Although the knee's primary motion is bending and straightening, it also accommodates small rotational adjustments. These rotations are subtle, yet they play a critical role in aligning the leg during movement. As the foot adapts to the ground and the thigh rotates slightly at the hip, the knee allows just enough rotation to maintain continuity. This adaptability prevents twisting forces from accumulating, reducing strain on surrounding tissues. The structures surrounding the knee contribute to this guidance. Ligaments provide directional stability, becoming taut at the limits of movement and relaxing when motion remains within safe ranges. Rather than restricting movement abruptly, they offer gradual resistance, encouraging the knee to stay aligned. This gentle guidance allows the joint to function reliably across a wide range of activities. Cartilage within the knee cushions contact between bones, spreading pressure over larger areas. This cushioning is essential for longevity, as the knee experiences repeated loading throughout the day. Movement supports the health of this cartilage by promoting fluid exchange, ensuring that tissues remain nourished. The skeleton's design favors regular, moderate use, allowing the joint to maintain resilience over time. The knee's role becomes especially apparent during transitions. When standing up from a seated position, the knee straightens gradually, guided by the alignment of the thigh and the position of the foot. This movement feels smooth when allowed to unfold naturally. The skeleton coordinates timing and structure so that effort is shared, reducing strain. Similarly, when sitting down, the knee bends in a controlled manner, allowing weight to be transferred gently to the support surface. At rest, the knee remains responsive. Even when seated or lying down, small adjustments occur as the joint responds to gravity and support. These micro-movements maintain circulation and comfort, preventing stiffness. The knee does not become inert in stillness. It remains part of the living system, adapting continuously. Walking highlights the knee's rhythmic role. Each step involves a cycle of bending and straightening that repeats effortlessly once established. This familiarity allows walking to become almost meditative, with movement flowing forward while the mind remains at ease. Over time, patterns of use influence how the knee moves. This stiffness is not a failure of the joint, but a reflection of its responsiveness to experience. Gentle reintroduction of movement allows tissues to adapt once more, restoring ease. The knee remains capable of adjustment throughout life. As you listen, you may notice sensations around your own knees, perhaps a sense of warmth, heaviness, or subtle movement. There is no need to interpret these sensations. They are signs of a joint that remains alive and responsive, even in rest. Awareness alone can allow unnecessary tension to release, inviting the knee to settle into comfortable alignment. The knee's design reflects a broader principle of human biomechanics: reliability through moderation. It does not offer extreme freedom, nor does it impose rigid restriction. Instead, it provides a clear pathway for motion, allowing bending and straightening to occur where they are most useful. This clarity supports both strength and endurance, enabling the knee to function across a lifetime of movement. Importantly, the knee is not meant to bear load alone. When these regions share responsibility, the knee's work becomes lighter. The skeleton encourages this cooperation through its interconnected design, distributing forces to preserve comfort. In moments of stillness, the knee continues to find balance. Small shifts occur as muscles relax and gravity changes. These adjustments are gentle and continuous, maintaining readiness for movement. Stillness is not an absence of function, but a quieter expression of it. As this session continues, attention will soon move further downward to the ankle and foot. For now, it is enough to appreciate the knee as a moving hinge that blends strength with sensitivity. It guides forward motion with quiet precision, adapting to load and direction without complaint. There is nothing you need to do to support this process. The skeleton already knows how to use the knee effectively. As you continue listening, you can allow this joint to rest or adjust naturally, trusting in the calm intelligence that has guided its motion through countless steps, bends, and moments of support. 16. The ankle. As attention moves to the ankle, the skeleton's relationship with the ground comes into clear focus. The ankle is where the body meets the surface beneath it, where weight, balance, and motion are translated into contact and response. Despite its modest size, the ankle manages complex demands, adjusting continuously to changes in terrain, posture, and direction. It does so quietly, blending stability with adaptability in a way that allows standing and walking to feel natural rather than precarious. The ankle is often imagined as a simple hinge that moves the foot up and down. While this description captures one aspect of its function, it overlooks the joint's subtlety. The ankle is part of a layered system of joints that together allow the foot to adapt to uneven surfaces and shifting loads. The primary joint permits bending and straightening, yet surrounding articulations allow small side-to-side and rotational adjustments. These combined motions enable the foot to remain in contact with the ground while the body moves above it. When standing, the ankle bears the weight of the body and channels it into the foot. This task requires precision rather than force. Small changes in balance are addressed by equally small adjustments at the ankle, preventing larger corrections from being necessary higher up the body. The skeleton favors these local responses, allowing balance to be maintained with minimal effort. Walking highlights the ankle's dynamic role. As the foot meets the ground, the ankle adjusts its angle to accommodate the surface. This adjustment softens impact and allows weight to be accepted gradually rather than abruptly. As the body moves forward, the ankle then shifts again, allowing the heel to lift and the foot to roll forward. This sequence transforms contact into propulsion. The bones forming the ankle are shaped to encourage this flow. Their contours guide movement along predictable paths, reducing the need for muscular correction. Cartilage cushions contact, distributing pressure evenly across joint surfaces. This design supports repeated movement, allowing the ankle to perform thousands of steps each day without complaint. Ligaments surrounding the ankle provide gentle guidance. They allow motion within comfortable ranges and offer resistance when limits are approached. This resistance is not abrupt. It increases gradually, signaling the joint to remain aligned. This system protects the ankle while preserving flexibility, allowing adaptation rather than rigidity. The ankle's responsiveness is especially important on uneven ground. When walking on a slope or irregular surface, the ankle adjusts its position to keep the sole of the foot in contact with the ground. These adjustments occur quickly and automatically, often without conscious awareness. The skeleton handles the complexity, allowing attention to remain elsewhere. At rest, the ankle continues its quiet work. Gravity influences its position, and the joint settles into alignment that minimizes strain. When seated or lying down, the orientation of the ankle changes, redistributing pressure and allowing tissues to recover. Even in stillness, small adjustments occur as muscles relax and weight shifts, maintaining comfort. Breathing and posture influence the ankle indirectly. Changes in alignment above alter how weight is distributed below, and the ankle responds accordingly. This interconnectedness ensures that balance is maintained throughout the skeletal chain. The ankle does not operate in isolation. It is part of a coordinated system that adapts as a whole. Over time, habitual patterns shape ankle movement. Regular walking on similar surfaces encourages familiar pathways, while varied terrain promotes adaptability. This adaptation is gradual and flexible. The ankle responds to experience without losing its capacity for change. Gentle variation supports this responsiveness, preserving comfort and range. As you listen, you may become aware of sensations in your own ankles, perhaps a sense of grounding or gentle movement. There is no need to adjust or analyze these sensations. They reflect the skeleton's ongoing dialogue with gravity and support. Awareness alone can allow the ankle to settle into ease, reducing unnecessary tension. The ankle also plays a role in conserving energy. By adjusting angles and absorbing impact, it reduces the need for larger corrections higher up. This efficiency allows walking to feel rhythmic rather than tiring. The skeleton favors these small, local adjustments, allowing movement to flow with minimal effort. Importantly, the ankle is designed to tolerate load. Standing, walking, and shifting weight rely on its capacity to accept force without rigidity. This tolerance does not imply stiffness. Instead, it reflects a balance between firmness and responsiveness. The joint remains ready to move even as it supports weight. In moments of stillness, the ankle does not lock. It remains subtly responsive, allowing small shifts that maintain circulation and comfort. This responsiveness prevents stagnation, supporting long-term ease. Stillness, once again, is revealed as a state of gentle adaptation rather than complete inactivity. As this session continues, attention will soon move to the foot itself, where arches and small bones further refine the relationship with the ground. For now, it is enough to appreciate the ankle as an adaptive mediator. It receives forces from above and responds to the surface below, translating weight into balance and motion. There is nothing you need to control. The skeleton already knows how to use the ankle to support you. As you continue listening, you can allow this joint to rest or adjust naturally, trusting in the calm intelligence that guides each subtle shift, each step, and each moment of grounded support with quiet precision. 17. The foot. Arches, springs, and soft landings. As attention settles at the lowest point of the skeletal system, the foot reveals itself as a structure of quiet sophistication. Often taken for granted, the foot performs the essential task of meeting the ground, receiving weight, adapting to surface, and returning energy upward through the body. It does this not through rigidity, but through a finely tuned system of arches and small bones that function together like natural springs. Each step becomes a gentle exchange between body and earth, guided by structure rather than force. The foot is composed of many bones arranged in layers, forming a shape that is both strong and adaptable. Rather than lying flat, these bones create arches that span from heel to toes and from side to side. These arches are not decorative features. They are functional designs that allow the foot to support weight while remaining flexible. When weight is applied, the arches compress slightly, absorbing impact. When weight is released, they rebound. This spring-like behavior allows the foot to soften landings without collapsing. As the heel meets the ground, the bones shift subtly, distributing pressure across the foot. The arches respond by lowering just enough to absorb shock. This response protects joints higher up, including the ankle, knee, and hip. By reducing the force transmitted upward, the skeleton favors this gradual dissipation of energy, allowing motion to feel smooth and controlled. As the body moves forward, the foot transitions from receiving weight to preparing for push-off. During this phase, the arches change shape again, becoming slightly firmer. This firmness allows the foot to act as a stable platform from which movement can continue. The transformation from softness to support happens seamlessly, guided by the arrangement of bones and connective tissues rather than conscious effort. The toes play a subtle yet important role in this process. As weight shifts forward, the toes extend and engage with the ground, increasing contact area and enhancing stability. This engagement does not require forceful gripping. Instead, it arises naturally from alignment and timing. The skeleton positions the toes to support balance and propulsion without tension. The foot's ability to adapt becomes especially clear on uneven surfaces. When standing or walking on irregular ground, the small bones of the foot adjust relative to one another, allowing the sole to conform to the surface. This adaptability keeps the body balanced without requiring large corrections above. The skeleton handles the complexity locally, preserving ease throughout the rest of the body. At rest, the foot continues its quiet work. Gravity influences its shape, and the arches settle gently when weight is applied. When the foot is unloaded, such as when lying down, the arches regain their natural height. This cycle of loading and unloading maintains tissue health, promoting circulation and responsiveness. Even during stillness, small adjustments occur as the foot responds to subtle changes in position. The arches of the foot are supported by ligaments and muscles that respond to movement rather than impose it. These tissues adjust their tone based on demand, allowing the foot to remain adaptable. This responsiveness ensures that the foot does not become rigid under load, nor overly lax during movement. Balance is maintained through continuous, gentle adjustment. Walking highlights the foot's rhythmic role. Each step follows a familiar pattern: heel contact, midfoot support, and forefoot push-off. This pattern is not rigid. It adapts to speed, surface, and direction. The foot adjusts its timing and shape accordingly, allowing walking to remain comfortable across varied conditions. The skeleton's design supports this adaptability without requiring conscious control. Over time, habitual movement patterns influence how the foot functions. Regular walking encourages even distribution of load, while prolonged immobility may reduce responsiveness temporarily. This stiffness is not permanent. The foot remains capable of adaptation, responding gradually to renewed movement. Gentle variation, such as changes in surface or pace, supports this adaptability, preserving the foot's natural spring. As you listen, you may become aware of sensations in your own feet, perhaps warmth, pressure, or a sense of contact with the surface beneath you. There is no need to interpret these sensations. They reflect the skeleton's ongoing relationship with the ground. Awareness alone can allow the feet to settle more comfortably, releasing unnecessary tension. The foot's design also contributes to balance. Small shifts in weight are managed locally at the foot, preventing larger corrections higher up. This efficiency allows standing to feel relaxed rather than strained. Importantly, the foot is designed to tolerate variation. Differences in shape, size, and use are accommodated without compromising function. The skeleton adapts internally, maintaining support across diverse conditions. This tolerance reflects the foot's role as an interface between body and environment, capable of responding to change. In moments of stillness, such as standing quietly or resting, the foot continues to make micro-adjustments. These movements maintain circulation and comfort, preventing rigidity. Stillness, once again, is revealed as an active state of subtle adaptation, rather than complete inactivity. As this session progresses, attention will soon turn to the coordinated rhythm of walking as a whole skeleton activity. For now, it is enough to appreciate the foot as a structure that blends strength with softness. Its arches act as springs, absorbing impact and returning energy, allowing movement to flow upward with ease. There is nothing you need to adjust or correct. The skeleton already understands how to use the foot to support you. As you continue listening, you can allow your feet to rest or respond naturally, trusting in the calm intelligence that guides each soft landing, each gentle push, and each moment of contact with the ground. 18. Walking as a whole skeleton rhythm. As the focus broadens once again, individual structures begin to merge into a single, flowing experience. Walking. Walking is not merely a sequence of leg movements, nor is it driven by one joint or muscle group. It is a whole skeleton rhythm, a coordinated wave of motion that travels through bones, joints, and connective tissues from the ground upward and back again. This rhythm unfolds naturally, requiring little conscious direction, because the skeleton itself is designed to support it. Each step begins with contact between the foot and the ground, yet the effects of that contact are felt throughout the entire body. The foot adapts to the surface, the ankle adjusts its angle, and the knee bends slightly to absorb impact. These movements occur almost simultaneously, guided by structures that have evolved to share load rather than concentrate it. The skeleton transforms what could be a jarring event into a smooth transition. As weight shifts onto one leg, the pelvis responds with a gentle rotation. This rotation allows the body to move forward without requiring excessive lifting or pushing. The hip of the supporting leg aligns to bear weight, while the opposite leg swings forward with ease. This swinging motion is not forced. It is guided by momentum and the length of the bones, allowing gravity and timing to assist rather than resist. The spine participates quietly in this rhythm. With each step, subtle rotations and shifts occur along its length, counterbalancing the movement of the legs. These spinal movements help keep the head oriented and the gaze steady, even as the body moves through space. The skeleton distributes motion across many segments, ensuring that no single area bears excessive demand. The arms contribute as well, swinging gently in opposition to the legs. This movement is not decorative. It helps balance rotational forces generated by the legs, reducing strain on the torso. The shoulder girdle and arms move freely, guided by their own skeletal design, allowing the rhythm of walking to remain fluid and symmetrical. Breathing often synchronizes with this rhythm. The movement of the rib cage and spine accommodates the steady pace of steps, allowing respiration to remain smooth. This synchronization is not imposed. It emerges naturally from the interplay of skeletal motion and internal rhythms. Walking becomes a full-body experience, integrating movement and breath without effort. What makes walking particularly remarkable is its efficiency. Once the rhythm is established, energy expenditure remains relatively low. The skeleton's lever systems, joint alignments, and elastic structures all contribute to this efficiency. Arches in the feet return energy, hips guide momentum, and the spine absorbs and redistributes forces. The result is movement that can be sustained for long periods without fatigue. The rhythm of walking adapts easily to changes in speed and direction. When pace increases, stride length and timing adjust seamlessly. When turning, the skeleton coordinates shifts in foot placement, pelvic rotation, and spinal alignment to redirect movement smoothly. These adaptations occur without conscious planning, reflecting the skeleton's capacity for integrated response. Terrain also influences walking rhythm. On uneven ground, the foot and ankle make local adjustments, allowing the rest of the body to continue moving forward with minimal disruption. The skeleton favors these localized responses, preventing instability from propagating upward. Balance is maintained through continuous, subtle corrections rather than abrupt changes. At rest between steps, there is a brief moment of support on one leg. During this phase, the skeleton aligns itself to bear weight efficiently. Bones stack, joints settle, and muscles adjust tone just enough to maintain balance. This moment of support is not static. Micro movements continue, maintaining readiness for the next step. Over time, walking patterns reflect individual experience. Stride length, rhythm, and posture adapt to habits, environments, and physical condition. These patterns are not fixed. They remain flexible, responding gradually to changes in activity and context. The skeleton accommodates these variations, maintaining the essential rhythm that defines walking. As you listen, you may become aware of the memory of walking within your own body. This familiarity reflects the deeply ingrained nature of walking, refined through countless repetitions since early life. Walking also offers insight into how the skeleton prefers to move. It favors continuity over abruptness, sharing over isolation, and rhythm over force. When movement follows these principles, it feels natural and sustainable. Discomfort often arises when rhythm is disrupted, not because the skeleton fails, but because its preferred pathways are challenged. In moments of quiet walking, such as a slow stroll, the rhythm becomes almost meditative. Attention can drift while the body continues forward, guided by structure rather than thought. This ease reflects trust in the skeleton's design. The bones and joints know how to move together, allowing the mind to rest. Even when walking is absent, the principles remain. Standing, shifting weight, or turning all draw on the same coordinated patterns. The skeleton carries the memory of walking rhythm into other movements, using it as a template for balance and flow. As this session nears its conclusion, walking serves as a unifying example of everything explored so far. The feet, ankles, knees, hips, pelvis, spine, shoulders, and arms all contribute, each in their own way, to a shared movement No part dominates. Each supports and responds to the others. There is nothing you need to do to achieve this rhythm. It is already present within you, embedded in your skeleton structure. As you continue listening, you can allow the idea of walking to settle gently into awareness, not as an action to perform, but as a reminder of how naturally the body moves when guided by its design. The rhythm of walking is a quiet conversation between the body and the ground, mediated by bone and joint, shaped by time and experience. It continues whether you notice it or not, a steady pulse of motion that reflects the skeleton's capacity for balance, efficiency, and ease. 19. Stillness, posture, and micro-movement. As movement slows and attention settles, it becomes clear that the skeleton never truly stops moving. Even in moments we describe as stillness, the body remains quietly active, guided by subtle adjustments that maintain balance, comfort, and internal flow. Posture, often imagined as a fixed position to be held, is in reality a dynamic state shaped by countless micro-movements. These small shifts occur continuously, allowing the skeleton to adapt to gravity without strain. When standing or sitting quietly, the body appears motionless from the outside. Internally, however, bones and joints are engaged in constant dialogue with the forces acting upon them. Gravity pulls downward, and the skeleton responds by stacking and aligning itself in ways that distribute load efficiently. Tiny movements occur at the ankles, knees, hips, spine, and neck, each contributing to overall balance. These movements are so small that they rarely enter awareness, yet they are essential for maintaining ease. Posture emerges from this ongoing process rather than from conscious control. The skeleton does not hold itself rigidly upright. Instead, it allows weight to shift slightly, responding to changes in support and environment. Muscles adjust their tone just enough to guide alignment, releasing when no longer needed. This responsiveness prevents fatigue and discomfort, allowing posture to be sustained without effort. Micro-movements play a crucial role in this process. These are minute adjustments that occur continuously, often without sensation. A slight shift of weight from one foot to another, a gentle change in spinal curve, or a small adjustment of the head's position all contribute to maintaining balance. Each movement is insignificant on its own, yet together they create stability through adaptability rather than rigidity. Breathing is deeply intertwined with posture and stillness. As the ribcage expands and contracts, the spine responds with subtle movement. The pelvis adjusts slightly, and weight distribution changes. These shifts are not disruptive. They are integrated into the body's balance strategy, allowing breathing to occur freely without compromising posture. The skeleton accommodates these rhythms seamlessly, reflecting its capacity to manage multiple demands at once. Even when lying down, stillness remains dynamic. Gravity acts differently in this orientation, and the skeleton responds by redistributing pressure across contact surfaces. Joints settle, muscles release, and small movements continue as the body finds comfortable alignment. These adjustments support circulation and prevent prolonged compression in any one area. Rest, in this sense, is an active process guided by structure. The idea of holding posture can introduce unnecessary effort. When posture is approached as something to maintain rigidly, micro-movements are suppressed. Muscles may work harder than needed, and comfort can diminish. In contrast, when posture is allowed to emerge naturally, guided by skeletal alignment and responsiveness, the body remains at ease. The skeleton prefers this adaptive approach, allowing movement to occur even within stillness. Over time, habitual patterns influence how stillness is experienced. Prolonged positions may reduce variability, leading to stiffness or discomfort. This stiffness is not a failure of the skeleton, but a reflection of reduced movement variety. Gentle shifts, changes in position, or simply allowing awareness to soften can restore micro-movement. As you listen, you may notice subtle sensations, perhaps a gentle sway, a change in pressure, or a sense of settling. There is no need to respond to these sensations. They are signs of the skeleton's ongoing work, maintaining equilibrium through small, continuous adjustments. Awareness alone can support this process, allowing unnecessary tension to dissolve. Micro-movements also support circulation. By preventing complete stillness, they encourage the movement of fluids through tissues. This movement nourishes joints and muscles, supporting health and comfort. The skeleton's design ensures that even minimal motion contributes to overall well-being. The head plays a role here as well. Its balance atop the spine requires constant, subtle adjustments. Small changes in gaze or breathing prompt shifts that keep the head aligned. These adjustments are effortless when allowed to occur naturally. The skeleton manages them quietly, preventing strain in the neck and shoulders. Stillness, then, is not the absence of movement, but a quieter expression of it. The skeleton remains engaged, responding to gravity, breath, and internal rhythms. This engagement allows the body to remain comfortable over time, preventing the buildup of strain. It reflects a fundamental principle of human biomechanics. Stability arises from movement, not from rigidity. In daily life, moments of stillness are interspersed with movement. Sitting, standing, and lying down all involve this balance of rest and adaptation. The skeleton transitions smoothly between these states, maintaining continuity. Understanding this process can soften the experience of rest, allowing it to feel restorative rather than stagnant. As this session draws toward its conclusion, stillness offers a space for integration. All the movements explored, walking, bending, breathing, leave traces in posture. The skeleton carries these experiences, adjusting alignment based on what it has encountered. In stillness, these adjustments continue, consolidating and balancing the effects of movement. There is nothing you need to correct or hold in place. The skeleton already knows how to maintain posture through micro-movement. As you continue listening, you can allow your body to rest in this understanding, trusting in the quiet intelligence that guides each subtle shift. Stillness becomes an invitation to notice how little effort is required when movement is allowed to remain fluid. The skeleton supports you not by freezing, but by adapting, moment by moment. And within this gentle adaptation lies the comfort and ease that make true rest possible. 20 Rest, gravity, and the skeleton at ease. As this exploration gently comes to rest, attention settles on the final state that supports all others, rest itself. Rest is not merely the absence of movement, nor is it a pause between activities. It is a distinct condition in which the skeleton reorganizes, redistributes forces, and returns to balance. Gravity, ever present, continues to act upon the body, yet during rest its influence changes. The skeleton responds by settling into positions that require minimal effort, allowing recovery to unfold quietly and naturally. When the body lies down, the relationship with gravity is transformed. Weight that was once channeled vertically through the legs and spine is now distributed across broader surfaces. Bones that previously bore continuous load are allowed to decompress. Joints open slightly, discs rehydrate, and connective tissues soften. This redistribution is not passive collapse, but a guided reorganization shaped by skeletal structure. The body does not abandon alignment in rest. It finds a new one. The spine, which has carried and balanced the trunk throughout the day, lengthens subtly as gravitational compression eases. The curves that absorbed force, while upright, are given space to recover. Discs between vertebrae gradually draw in fluid, restoring height and resilience. This process is slow and quiet, unfolding over hours rather than moments. Yet it is essential for maintaining comfort and adaptability over time. The pelvis also responds to this change. Freed from the task of transferring weight into the legs, it settles into support surfaces, redistributing pressure through its broad structure. Small adjustments occur as muscles release and bones align to minimize strain. These adjustments are guided by sensation rather than thought, reflecting the skeleton's capacity to seek ease instinctively. The limbs follow suit. Arms and legs rest in positions that balance their own weight, reducing tension around joints. Shoulders release their need to stabilize the arms against gravity, and the shoulder girdle settles naturally. Hips and knees find angles that feel supported rather than held. Even the smallest joints, in the hands and feet, soften as load decreases and circulation continues gently. The skull, which balanced atop the spine throughout waking hours, now receives full support. The neck muscles release much of their activity, allowing the head to rest without effort. Small shifts may occur as the body finds a comfortable orientation, ensuring that no single area bears pressure for too long. These shifts often happen without awareness, guided by the same principles that govern movement during activity. Breathing changes during rest, and the skeleton adapts accordingly. The ribcage moves more slowly, expanding and settling with less demand for posture maintenance. The spine responds with gentle motion, maintaining continuity between breath and structure. This slower rhythm supports relaxation, allowing tissues to recover and internal systems to recalibrate. Even in deep rest or sleep, the skeleton remains active in subtle ways. These movements prevent stagnation, support circulation, and maintain joint health. Rest, like movement, is defined by adaptability rather than stillness alone. Gravity, often perceived as a burden during activity, becomes a partner in rest. It encourages the skeleton to settle, to release unnecessary effort, and to redistribute load. The bones do not resist gravity in rest. They accommodate it, aligning in ways that reduce strain. This cooperation allows rest to feel restorative rather than rigid. Over the course of the night, the skeleton cycles through different positions, each offering a slightly different distribution of forces. These changes support tissue recovery by varying pressure and movement patterns. The body's ability to shift without waking reflects deep integration between structure and sensation. The skeleton guides these changes quietly, without instruction. As you listen, you may notice a sense of heaviness or warmth, perhaps a feeling of being supported by the surface beneath you. These sensations reflect the skeleton's ongoing work of settling and balancing. Awareness alone allows this process to continue unimpeded. Rest also integrates the movements of the day. The skeleton carries the memory of activity in subtle ways, and during rest it redistributes the effects of those movements. Areas that experienced more load are given time to recover, while others maintain gentle activity. This integration supports long-term resilience, allowing the body to adapt to repeated cycles of movement and rest. Importantly, rest does not require perfect conditions. The skeleton is adaptable, capable of finding ease across a variety of surfaces and positions. It responds to what is available, adjusting internally to maintain comfort. This adaptability reduces the need for control, allowing rest to occur even in less than ideal circumstances. As this session reaches its conclusion, the skeleton can be appreciated not only for how it moves, but for how it rests. Movement and rest are not opposites, but complementary expressions of the same design. The skeleton is built to do both, shifting seamlessly between activity and recovery. There is nothing left to learn or remember. The knowledge explored here is already embodied within you, reflected in the quiet intelligence of your bones and joints. As you continue to rest, the skeleton will keep doing what it has always done, adapting to gravity, responding to support. You can allow attention to soften now, letting words fade into the background. The skeleton remains at ease, supported, responsive, and calm. In this state, movement has resolved into stillness, and stillness continues to move gently beneath the surface. The session ends not with an ending, but with a settling, as the body rests within its own enduring rhythm.